Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground Network. Please give us that 5-star review. Subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you do your potting. And of course, well, you know, I know where I do my potting, but it's a different kind of potting. So let's just continue along with the script here.
Please. We don't want to go off the rails in the first 30 seconds of the show. No.
Follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill the Podcast. You can also email us, BJ and Bill the Podcast @gmail.com, as we welcome you to episode 127.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay, good. We've had numbering issues in the past, and it doesn't matter. It's not important. What we could call it number 1,000 if we wanted to, but yeah.
Welcome to 1,127.
We just want to keep things even. That's all. We just want to keep things even. And I've told you in the past, and I always have to be mindful of that, because the other podcast that I do, the Practical Path podcast with our friend Vicky, we're exactly 100 behind. So if you and I are doing 127 this week on BJ and Bill, then she and I will be doing number 27 on the Practical Path. So there you go. So all good. So how are you? I'm loving the fact that BJ Odom, ladies and gentlemen, you can't see him on the audio, but he is wearing his Florida Gator baseball hat today. Yay.
Yeah, baby.
Very nice. We appreciate that.
Well, I figured, since, football season was over, they're doing pretty decent in basketball.
Yes, we are certainly doing pretty decent in basketball.
So I thought I'd wear a little bit of the
good,
the blue and orange.
I have a t-shirt, but I got it from like one of the blood donation places, but they were doing it in association with the Gator. So it's got a gator on it, but it talks about, giving blood kind of a thing. I need to probably get a real Gator shirt or baseball hat. I've only been here for 2.5 years, and I still don't have any Gator stuff.
Wow. I lived up there, for not even a year, and I had Gator garb. You had to, or people would attack you on the streets if you didn't have your Gator garb on.
Pretty much true. I mean, you can't, and I've talked about this before, that my neighborhood Walmart, the Walmart that's closest to me, is also the closest one to campus. So if you go in the evening, that's all you see is Gator stuff, because all the kids that are in class during the day, they come to Walmart at night to, buy their ramen noodles or whatever. So you can't, you just learn. It's like when we lived in Fort Myers and you knew the best time to go to the beach to avoid the tourists, and you didn't go on the weekend, and you didn't go boating on the weekend or whatever, because it was all the tourists and the amateurs. Same thing here. You have to work around the college campus schedule. So, you're not going near downtown on football weekends. You can't, for starters. It's pretty much all blocked off. And, so same thing, even for shopping, even Walmart, you just go during the day and the kids are all in class and you have the place to yourself. It's awesome.
Now, see, I remember when I first got started in radio, one of my first cities I worked in was Lafayette, Indiana, the home of, West Lafayette is where Purdue is.
Yes.
And of course, I was on the other side of town. So, I mean, it was still a college town, and you kind of had that feeling that you were in a college town because,
right.
There was a lot of Purdue garb in the town.
Right.
But until you went to West Lafayette, you really didn't get the campus feel. So I didn't really experience that. But when I moved to Gainesville, when I did,
right,
which was still way before BJ and Bill.
Way before.
I worked at a country station up there that is even no longer in operation. The frequency's not even there anymore. But that was my first real feel of like living in a college town where everywhere you went, everything you did, everything was everything was Gator. You couldn't stop at the, gas station to get gas. You saw Gators. Now, see, you didn't see that as much. Of course, that was back in the 70s, but you didn't see that much about Purdue
Right.
when I first moved to Lafayette, Indiana.
Which, by the way, also explains why you're a Boilermaker fan. I didn't put two and two together until just now. So there you go. Yeah.
And really growing up, and I think I've said this before, as far as basketball,
Mm-hmm.
because when I was younger, that was the Bobby Knight days when he was at
Of
IU.
course. Yeah.
And so I was a big IU basketball person and then more of a Purdue football person.
Hmm.
So
Cool.
I never really got into their basketball really until, the last few years because they've had some decent teams.
There you go.
But those
There you go.
Gators, man, they're kicking butt this year in
In
basketball.
in basketball, yes. In basketball. Football, not so much. Although, we're already making some waves, signing some names and stuff like that. So I don't follow that super close, but close enough. And, basketball, yes. I mean, especially since, our friend Shaquille O'Neal, his daughter is on the Lady Gators team. So yeah, that's worth following for sure.
And no disrespect here, but I've seen a few of the games,
Yes.
and she's not getting. Of course, she's a freshman,
Yeah.
but she's not getting a whole lot of play time, which
No.
kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit. But maybe I don't know. But
Like you said, freshman, she's got room to grow. So we'll see what
Of
happens.
course, Sharif had those medical issues where he had those heart problems,
Right.
so he didn't even get to play for like a year and a half.
Right. Right.
I do believe that he's still playing for the Lakers, but the Lakers G League.
Right. The developmental league.
Yeah,
Yes. I
so he's
think
still
you're right. Although he's also working with his father at Reebok. So he's got no career. He has no career problems. Let's put it that way.
Well, I
Yeah.
know Miles, his oldest son, which is not a biological son, but still as much of a son as anyone else, Shaq will say. He's really into the fashion and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also out, doing a lot of the DJ gigs too. He's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of following his father's footsteps with DJing.
Right. And he and his father have actually appeared together at shows and stuff like that too, at DJ
Yeah.
shows. So yeah, absolutely. So
I
all
know the
good.
last time he was in Miami, it was really cool too because dad was doing one of the big, like festivals.
Right. Dance music.
And then, of course, that didn't start till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I think, when Shaq got on. And then, I wasn't there. Thank God that's past my bedtime. But then they went and saw Miles as he was DJing at a local club. And that was packed out too. So,
Hmm.
father and son duo there
All
working out
good.
pretty good.
All good. Oh, yeah.
I think by the time they walked out of the bar, I think the sun was coming up.
I've never left a bar when the sun's coming up. I have left Denny's in the middle of the night or
Now,
IHOP in the middle of the night when they were open 24/7.
if we're going to go back to my early days, and I don't even know if they have them anymore, but Fort Myers had what they called bottle clubs. Are you familiar?
Right. Right. Remind me more about that. I remember the name, but what does that mean? That means you could bring a bottle. Bring your own bottle.
Here's what it was.
Yeah.
So the clubs closed at 2. The bottle clubs opened at 2.
Right.
Against the law to sell alcohol after 2. So listen to this, people. This is how, let's just say, I don't think people that went to the bottle clubs were real bright. Because here's what you did. Like, let's say you had your bottle of wine or you had your bottle of rum.
Right.
And when you went in, you paid like a $2 cover charge.
Right.
$5, whatever it was back in those years. You gave them your bottle. They put a label on your bottle and it had a number, and you had like a little card with the number. What they would do, because they weren't charging you for the liquor, that was your bottle.
Right.
They were charging you for the setup.
Of course.
So if you had a rum and Coke, you go, I have rum bottle number 472. and you showed your little card, and then you may have someone, with you or a lady across the bar.
Right.
She would like a rum and coke. Give her a rum and coke out of my bottle, and again, you had to buy the coke for the setup, which you usually spent like $4 or $5 for the setup.
That was probably the most expensive fountain drink you ever bought.
Yeah. And that's
Yes,
how
I'm pretty sure I was never in one of those places during that time of day.
Oh,
But
let me tell you, Bill Stevens. In those days, I was working 7 to midnight at Wink FM.
Wow, yeah.
I would get off the air, sometimes and run to the Crown Lounge or ABC just before it closed. And then we go, hey, let's go to the Bottle Club. There was many, many of sunrises that I saw as I was exiting the Bottle Club.
Okay, I hear you. Good for you.
In fact, I even DJ'd a few nights at the Bottle Club every now and then.
Wow. I did a lot of DJing, not a lot. I did some in college, when it was, that was late 70s. It was as hardcore disco as you could get. And the place where I did the DJing, they had the Saturday Night Fever light up dance floor. They had the whole thing. So anyway, yeah.
I remember working at Wink also I think it was it Tuesday night or Thursday night? I think we might have had 2 nights at the Crown Lounge where we would go in and, they had a disc jockey, but you would, be the guy up playing with the DJ and you'd get a talent fee for just going and, and then we would MC like, man, I am going to age myself because this would probably be illegal or so chauvinistic in these days.
Oh, I hear this coming. Say more.
But I was the guy that got to every week. I was the guy that did 7 to midnight, but yet I was the guy that was there to MC.
Say it.
Wait for it.
Say
the
it.
Wet T-shirt contest.
The wet T-shirt. Yes, that's out for now. That's just that's so last century.
And let me tell you, if you have young children that are listening to the BJ and Bill podcast, close their ears for just a few seconds. Because I remember what we would do before the wet T-shirt contest. Because the MC did the pouring.
Of course, he's holding up a water bottle, folks.
And we would always put the bottles, which were alcohol bottles, but we were just filling them with water.
Yes.
But we was also had a tub where the stage, was, or where the DJ booth was, where we would come out to get the contestants and pour the water on the contestants. The water was always in ice buckets. And I'm wondering if I should even say this. Could I still go to jail if this happened like in 1984?
50 years or 40 years ago.
We would take the bottles.
Yes, the ice cold water bottles.
The ice cold water bottles and pour them on the T-shirts.
Of course, on the T-shirts, yes.
But like where you drink, the little hole where you drink.
Well, yeah, the bottle, yes.
Yeah, the bottle top.
Yes.
Oh my God, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to explain it. Only Bill can see this. Pretend like this is the breast that the T-shirt is in.
The breast.
We would pour the water, and then we would kind of like do a. Kind of like make sure the few drops got rubbed off on the fabric right there at the yes
on certain parts of the ladies.
To make sure that it would stick out more for the contest. Oh my God, I just want to shoot myself now.
Well, that was our history. We don't have to really be proud of it, but that was definitely our more your history. But I'm sure I was there for at least one or two of those somewhere. I don't know, but yeah,
I guess,
yeah,
I guess
hear
we
you.
could call it, since it's illegal nowadays, that was White History Month.
White History Month?
I don't know. I didn't,
Yeah,
because this is actually, isn't this, or is it over now? Yeah, this is
no, it's Black,
Black
History Month.
History.
Yes.
Although
Yeah,
some
February,
people
all
say,
February, Black History Month. Yes.
although supposedly you can't do that anymore, but yes, we can.
I don't, it's the world is so crazy right now. I don't know what you can and can't do, and I don't even really care.
I don't think you can have a wet T-shirt contest.
Oh,
in
I
this
thought you
world.
were talking about Black History
Well,
Month.
no, I'm talking about both. I don't know which one's right, but I'm pretty sure that one is definitely. I don't think I've seen those advertised in quite some time.
Any random summer Saturday night in Key West or Miami Beach, I'm guessing that they're still happening somewhere, but they're probably not advertised as much as they used to, because we used to put that on the radio. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, Thursday night it's the wet T-shirt contest at the Crown Lounge.
Hello. So
Bring your
yeah,
little friends.
I mean, come on. Was there any better way of getting men into a bar to spend money? I don't. Why are we talking about this? I don't know, but
Because BJ Odom is on the BJ and Bill podcast. That's why we're talking about this.
it's just
Bill was
it's
in the
just-
library while I was at the Crown Lounge participating in the wet T-shirt contest. Not only participating, but the MC and the pourer.
and the poorer. Yes, you were. So I don't know what to do with that, but it's a great bit of history. It really is.
Yeah, it's history, people.
I am sure it is still happening in many places. I'm just also sure that it's probably not, it's a little more under the radar, shall we say. It's not being publicized like
It might be when you go by the bars nowadays that say ladies, ladies, ladies. That's where it may be happening now.
You're talking about like adult entertainment?
Yes.
Well, that goes without saying. Yeah. I'm talking about your average, quote unquote, average nightclub or bar.
Yeah, you won't see that anymore.
Yeah, no. When you think about it, are there even, remember, I remember again, when we, back in BJ and Bill time, Crown Lounge, ABC Liquors, all of that stuff. Are those places, I know those businesses still are out there because we have one. I have one right here in town, but they don't have the bar, the lounge attached to them like they used to, or do they? I'm showing my age here.
I don't think so. I
don't either.
Clubs are
those
clubs
big
now.
kind of entertainment, like go to drink and dance and, see the wet T-shirt contest. Those places, I don't know that they're around anymore. I don't know that. Now if you go to Miami, of course they have the huge fancy nightclubs where, it's crazy expensive and, everybody looks like a supermodel and all of that. I get that, but I'm just saying the average small town, Fort Myers was a small town back then, small town, Crown Lounge or ABC or whatever. I don't see that anymore. I really don't.
Well, they're still your little town, your little city bars.
Oh, of course. I was actually at one Friday night. We went out to a place in Gainesville. If you've ever been to Gainesville, you probably know, and it's a college town, so this is the most perfect name. It's the One Love Cafe. And it's half indoors, half out. It's they make food, food and drinks, pretty good, pretty decent food. And then they have a covered seating area that, big open area. The sides are open. And then there's the band is up there playing. And then there's some outdoor seating out on the lawn and all that. So it's really nice. It's really a cool place. And it's mostly folks, it's mostly for, shall we say, folks of our age. Well, maybe not
Of
that
our
old,
age or
but
college age?
it's not college age. You don't see a lot of college kids there. In fact, when I was there Friday night, I saw 0 college kids. I would say the audience was almost exclusively 40 and up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if that was just because the band was more playing the classic rock kind of stuff or not. I don't know. Maybe they have a night when they get more college kids. I've only been there 2 or 3 times. So, but again, that's kind of what it's morphed into, that if you're going to go somewhere, but they're not having a wet t-shirt contest at One Love Cafe. No.
I don't.
So that's that.
Now, what is funny here in Claremont, where we live now,
Yes.
they have a Crown Lounge. I haven't been in it, but I've driven by it a few times. I go, wow, it's the Crown Lounge.
Crown Lounge.
And then a few days, like a few weeks ago, there was
Right.
a little thing on, because, you know, every little town, or every town now has, you know, a Facebook page, you know, where people post stuff. And supposedly, Bar Rescue was there. So the Crown
Bar
Lounge here
Rescue.
in
Oh, the
Claremont,
TV show.
in Claremont
TV show.
must have needed rescued.
I'm taking a quick look at Google Maps here to see if there's a Crown, and that was with an E, wasn't it? Crown Lounge, Gainesville, Crown Lounge. I'm just going to do that.
Now the one in Fort Myers.
Oh yeah, I type in Crown Lounge and it comes up, or State Route 50, Claremont, Florida. Pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Yeah,
So
I know
I'm
the
gonna
one in
do
Fort Myers is
ABC
gone.
Liquors. Yeah. Okay. Locations. Yeah. See,
I
we
think
have an ABC. Actually, we have 2 of them here in town.
Yeah,
Well, I
ABC
think one of them
Liquors.
closed. I think
ABC Liquors is very popular in Florida.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
ABC is hugely
but
popular.
they don't have the
Hugely.
lounge attached to them like
No,
they did back
no.
in the day.
They don't. In fact, this ABC, now that I brought it up on my map here, I recognize the place, because when I'm sometimes doing my little DoorDash stuff, I will go and have pickups from ABC all the time up by the mall, up by the Oaks Mall in Gainesville, for those of you who know the place. So yeah, I'm in there a bunch, mostly
Okay.
just not for myself. So, but yeah, so I don't know. I guess that's a business. I guess that they just kind of changed the business. Who knows? Who knows?
Speaking of reliving your old days of rock and roll, I went to SeaWorld. My daughter and her boyfriend
Of course.
was nice enough to take me to SeaWorld last night. And I actually realized how old I am and how old the rockers are from the original rock and roll years. We went and saw not Motley Crue. We went and saw Molly Hatchet,
Molly Hatchet.
one of those
They're
Southern
still
rock
around?
bands. Yes, they're still around.
Weren't they from Jacksonville?
Yeah, they're from Jacksonville.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I seem to remember they were local guys. Yeah.
Now, the guitar player is not an original member, but he has been with the band for 40 years.
40 years. Holy cow.
And yes, America, the Molly Hatchet, the band is older than 40 years old.
That's insane. Well, I mean, yeah.
So he's not an original member, but he's the longest member. I mean, he was actually with the band when the band was still the band.
Okay. So there's nobody left that actually formed the band there in Jackson?
Nobody is left that actually formed the band.
Yeah, that's a lot of that happens, right?
And then they have a bass player, because they're from there too, which used to be with Leonard Skinner.
Uh-huh.
And what was the spinoff of Leonard Skinner when once they had the plane crash? Rosington
Collins Band.
Yeah. One their original bass player is now with Molly Hatchet.
Wow.
Keyboard player's been with them for like 25, 30 years. And I don't know how long the drummer's been with them. But
Right.
then they have this new lead singer who's like 22 years old. It's like, you know, when you're watching Sesame Street, which one does not fit? And you're going, let me see.
I was
which
wondering
one
where you were
does
going
not
with that,
fit?
but yeah, that makes perfect sense. But that happens all the time nowadays. I mean, you and I have seen that 100 different times in 100 different ways, starting back from BJ and Bill time when the quote unquote Beach Boys would be in town. And the Beach Boys came to Southwest Florida every year like clockwork. I think they had a condo in Naples or something. I don't know. But, and so, how many original members are still left? How many
I think the
original are
last
gonna be
time
there?
I
Whatever.
saw the Beach Boys, it was 2.
Right. Right.
And
And then that was, of course, post Brian Wilson, and he went off and tried to do his own thing, but he had health issues and all that. And I remember seeing him in Naples in a quote unquote solo show. It wasn't a solo show, but he had a band that, it was Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys plus, his band. His band was fantastic. He was okay. But he was smart enough to put a good band around him that could do the Beach Boys stuff and the other stuff, and it was terrific. But I mean, you see that through years and years and years, like these Motown bands, these Motown groups. How many versions of the Platters or the Coasters or the whatever have there been? Because none of those people are original folks, but they never owned the name and they never owned the rights to the music because, well, they got ripped off way back then. So yeah, I see that. You see that all the time.
yeah, I had a friend, and he must not be much of a friend because I can't remember his name now, which really upsets me that I can't remember his name. But let's just say he was probably, a little younger than me.
Right.
And I don't think I am even old enough to be an original Platters member. I don't know, because that was a 50s group.
Yes. Yeah.
And he travels with the original Platters. And I'm going, the original name, yes.
But you can't be the original if none of you are the same of left. Well, those guys would all be 90 by now. I mean, or if they're still around at all, which they're probably not. But yeah, so I get it. And again,
and I don't want to really throw shade here,
but
when he was touring with the Platters,
right,
we had a conversation about because I said, well, well, none of us that are, were there in the beginning.
No.
And so I said, and he told me there was 3 different groups all at the same time that were out on the road. The Platters may have been in California one night, and the same night at the same time, practically, they were in, New York.
Right.
And probably they were somewhere in the Midwest, all 3 playing the same night. Man, now you talk about quick change artists.
That's time travel. And that's, I know of a couple of other quote unquote bands. They're not bands. It's just like the Blue Man Group. There's 4 or 5 Blue Man groups. One of them plays at Disney World or wherever they play, and one of them plays in Vegas, and one of them, and then at Christmas time, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, great rock and roll Christmas music. Great. There's 3 or 4 of those, and they play wherever, I get it. And that's fine. I mean, you're not going unless you are going to see, unless I'm going to see Elvis and, it's not the Elvis. To use the example, I mean, of course, obviously he's not.
Well, now,
but yeah, huh?
Okay, it all started with Elvis,
pretty much.
But now it's like, okay, we have a place here in Claremont called the Performing Arts Center or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they have a big electronic sign, flashes who's going to be there.
Sure.
Every time I drive by there, you get all excited because you see a big name, like Billy Joel. Tribute band.
Right.
You see.
Right.
You see.
Yeah.
Just great. You even see like bands like modern day bands Kiss. Tribute band.
Tribute band.
When in the hell did tribute bands become a thing?
Well, they are, because there's money to be made.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's just call it the way it is. It's a cover band.
Right. Well, no, not everybody understands that the way radio people like BJ and Bill would know what a cover is, because that's Yes, if I'm doing if Bill Stevens is singing, a Billy Joel song, I'm obviously not him, so I am covering the Billy Joel song or the whatever. And so yeah, that's the term we used. I don't
Yeah, because
you don't hear that. I don't even know if well, we haven't been in the radio business for 20 years, so who knows? I don't hear that term much. But yes, tribute band you hear all the time.
yeah,
All the
it used
time.
to be,
And
oh, they're a cover group.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
But now, no,
now
they're tribute bands.
I get it. I'm tired of that too. I
In
mean, I
fact,
don't
in fact, just last week I drove by. I remember Paul McCartney was there.
really.
It's a little, little, probably holds, I don't know, I've never been in it, maybe 1,000 people at the most.
That would be quite the show.
Yeah.
Not
Paul
happening.
McCartney tribute band.
Tribute band. Yeah, great, great, great.
Tribute
And some
band.
of them are, I mean, there are some that are like real, like they have a following of their, they've done enough, they've done it often enough and long enough, they've gotten their own following, they've gotten their own whatever. So I get it. There's money to be made there. What the heck? If you can look and sound like the original, people will pay for that.
Now I'm throwing shade today, baby.
Oh, here it comes.
So the wife and I got married, and our song that we, did our little first dance to,
Yes.
I've been waiting for a girl like you.
Foreigner.
Foreigner, yes.
Thank you.
So I'm thinking Epcot, they must get some pretty big names because I went and saw some pretty big names at Epcot before.
Sure.
Foreigner/Journey. I'm thinking, must be a few members from Journey and a few members from Foreigner. They put a band together. This is going to be great.
Yeah, no.
They're a bunch of local yokels from Orlando and they go by Foreigner/Journey. That's the name of their band. They sing Foreigner songs and Journey songs. Not one member of their little band was from either group.
No. That, I mean,
they weren't even kinfolk to anyone in either group.
not related in any way other than the fact that we paid the licensing to play their music and get paid for it. So get it. I do.
I was very disappointed.
Oh, were you? I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that you didn't think that it would be the real band. I guess, like you said.
But I don't know. I just thought, okay, you're going to have a couple members from this band, a couple members from that. Probably some nephews and, cousins maybe. But no, there was nobody even related to the damn band.
Did you go see it or no?
No, we did. We went.
Did it? Because I'm still enjoying my Journey records collection, CDs, whatever. I've got a couple of them on my iPod, on my iPhone, and I play it now and then. And I'm every time I hear a good Journey song, I'm like, no one is ever doing Steve Perry's voice again. That was a singular voice in rock and roll. He's just, to me, you may love him, you may hate him. Fantastic voice. So did they even come close to doing the Steve Perry?
They did good covers.
They did good. I remember, and we'll take our break after this in a minute, but I remember when it was BJ and Bill time back in Fort Myers, Edison College did a jazz kind of show, and they finished the day with the Guess Who cover. It wasn't a cover band. I mean, it was like, because that was a brass and rock and roll thing and whatever. And it was, I remember that show to this day. It was so good. It was out on the lawn at Edison College, and you and I were there along with our old boss and a few other friends. I remember that fantastic show. I remember, but that's just me. So anyway,
every once in a while you will find a cover band,
right?
A tribute band, right? And you listen, you go, oh wow, I like when they do like Elvis and the Beatles too, because they like come out in full and Kiss
full costume.
They come out in full costume. They try to, like they're trying to play the part and be the part,
right?
And they try to sound as much like the part as they possibly can. Sure. And there are some of those that are like, okay,
yeah,
I didn't know better.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's doable. And again, if people weren't interested and weren't paying money to go see them, those bands wouldn't be around. But so obviously there's an audience for that, and I'm okay with that. I am.
Yeah, I'm
So,
okay with it.
Look, I went to my little cafe the other night, and they didn't do anything original. They were doing their Creedence Clearwater Revival and their Bob Seger, and that not all that well, I might add, but it's okay. It's not. It's okay. So yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break. I got to refill this coffee, and you do what you need to do. But we will be right back. Welcome back. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. And if you are enjoying what you hear and are enjoying what you hear every week, we invite you to give us that 5-star review wherever you collect your podcasts onto your devices, whether that's Apple or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music. We're on all of those. We're everywhere. Just give us the good review. That's all we ask.
I feel like
if you want, by the way, you can take a look at our Facebook page. Always some fun stuff happening there. Just do a search on Facebook for BJ and Bill, the podcast. And the email address is the same, BJ and Bill, the podcast @gmail.com. There you go.
I feel like I should be playing taps for you today.
For me.
Football season is over.
It is. Although, if you're really, really into it, you just got to wait another 3 weeks, is it, for this spring football for the are they still going by XFL? I don't remember.
I don't know what I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about it. I try to watch it and I can't.
It's not that the game is unwatchable. It's just you're right though. It's just I don't know either. And I obviously I don't know how they're even staying in business because they get 3,000 or 4,000 people. It's like a high school game, and they're playing and there's only eight teams.
Yeah, they're not very many.
No, I know you got one in Orlando, don't you?
I think so.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, that's how bad it is.
I know that's how bad it is. It really. So anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. Baseball season is coming soon. Not that I'm a huge baseball fan early on, until things get warm in the summer and the games start to, be a little more important. But yeah, in fact, this is the time of year where I think I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put my YouTube TV subscription on, summer break on pause and not pay. Again, they keep raising the price, by the way. So, I'm going to start looking around for other options, and I'm definitely going to put it on pause because literally the only thing I watch on TV is sports anyway. So when the NBA championship is over with, I'm done with TV for the summer. I really am. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I still got the Hallmark Channel to back me up.
You do. You still have the Hallmark Channel. So. Well, it's not like you're exactly. It's not like I don't have options. I pay for the YouTube Premium, which means I get the YouTube without commercials, the regular YouTube, and they have all sorts of interesting things on there to watch. I watch a ton of different things, and then I also have Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime's got a couple of things I'm watching. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay TV wise.
Yeah, there's enough things out there.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. You never have to leave the house. And well, that's a bit of a problem. You do want to get a little exercise now and then. And I'm happy to report that I'm up to pickleballing like 2 or 3 times a week now. So yeah, played yesterday, played like 3 hours, got home and collapsed onto the couch, just going, everything hurts. Everything.
Okay. I'm older than you. I have things that hurt that people don't even know exist. And I'm not making fun of anybody because I am right there with you. I am right there with the people I'm about to make fun of.
Okay, but you're going to make fun. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm not even going to make fun. I'm just going to. Okay, so we went to see Molly Hatchet.
Right. You mentioned that, right?
Molly Hatchet was probably a late 70s, maybe a few hits in the early 80s group
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
when the guys had like real long hair.
Right, right, right.
And so I hate to even say this because because I was on my scooter, I was on my little
Scooter.
mobile scooter going around SeaWorld, trying to not running into
Yes,
anyone. And
yes,
we got to park the scooter because we stayed at the top row, and I parked my scooter like right behind my chair, which I could have sat in my chair and been probably more comfortable than the hard plastic seats that were in the stadium at SeaWorld.
yes.
But
But
I even like getting up out of them chairs, like, whoa, my God, I gotta get up again. Oh man, somebody come by. Oh, son of a bitch, you want to go through? I get up again. I just sit down and got up 5 seconds ago. But since we were there at the stairway, as you go, because you have to go down
right.
to go closer. And I thought about maybe it'd be cooler to be down by the band. Or let's just set up here at the top where I don't have to like worry about walking all the way down and all the way back up again.
Right.
But I was watching people go down low. And and God bless her soul. I mean, I know I have problems. I have medical problems, and she probably has medical problems. And just that we're out and we're amongst the people, that's a win, okay? But I'm watching her because her and her husband want to be down close.
Are you just talking about two random people, or is this somebody you know?
I don't know them from Jack.
Okay, so you're watching a couple go down the stairs to try to get close in.
It had to take them 30 minutes to get down. I'm going, oh my God, if I was in that bad, I'm in bad shape, but if I was in that bad a shape, I would have set up where I was. It's like, oh my God, just sit right next to me, up in the high nosebleed seats where you don't have to walk down. I'm going, oh, and it was like person after person after person. And I mean, there was one that was, like I said, terribly slow. I mean, it was like 20 minutes for her to get 5 rows lower than me. And I'm going, oh my God. But again, I'm proud of these people because they got out of the house. They went to see something that they remember back from when they were younger, and they were hippies, and they were drinking, and they were smoking pot, and they were like, my God, this is the greatest music of all times.
It is, by the way, it is the greatest music of all time. Still.
But if it's going to take you a half hour to get down to the front seats, my God, just stay up here with me.
Pretty soon that Wall-E prediction is coming true. You ever see the movie Wall-E, WALL-E on Disney? It's a Pixar, it's an animated thing. It's about a little robot. He works on a space station, and all the humans have these floating reclining chairs. And that's all they do is they're so big and so fat and so out of shape that they can't even walk. They just float around on these floating reclining chairs. And that's how everybody, and that's what the world is coming to. That's what it's going to be.
Well,
we're all just going to have all these concert venues and all this are all going to have to be, every row is going to be wheelchair accessible. I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
I know it's not funny, but yeah, it was, and I probably should not need one. Because, I mean, I can get around fine. I can do things, but I take my little scooter.
Right.
And I hate to say this, too, but it's getting to the point where you go to one of these parks, it's like half the crowd over. Well, I'm trying to think how I should word this.
He's trying to make this as painless as possible.
Okay. Oh, let's just say, okay, us old people I see.
Right.
because we're old, we're ratchety, and we can't move worth a crap. But, and I wish my
But
dog had quit barking. I don't know what's got her all
I
riled.
don't, we don't hear him. It's okay. You're good.
But what I'm saying also, then these people that weigh 500 pounds and they're riding these little scooters. Maybe if you like walked, you would look, because I'm seeing people in their 20s and 30s
Oh, really?
in these, hovercraft scooters or whatever you want to call them. And I'm going,
Right.
damn, maybe some exercise would help you out.
You think?
Well, like even, and I will admit, my wife is much healthier than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times that I'll let her take the scooter and I will walk because I do want to get some exercise. I do want to walk some, but the day of walking, 10,000,
10,000 steps a day.
15,000
Yeah, you're
steps,
done with that.
I'm done with that. This body
I hear
don't
you.
do that.
I hear you.
But I mean, I can go, like 500 to 1,000 steps a day,
Cool.
so I try to get some of that in.
Cool.
And I say, here, why don't you take the scooter and I'll walk to the car. Why don't you take the scooter and we'll get to the front of the park or whatever.
There you go.
I give her, but I don't know. It's just, yeah. I think too many people are on these things.
And do you think, and I remember, I mean, anytime you're at a park, like you said, you see the scooters and the wheelchairs and the whatever. Do you think there are some people who abuse that privilege as well?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I think,
Absolutely.
I hate to say this, but I've had a heart transplant 22 years, had the kidney transplant 2015. But I feel in a way, just there are times that I'm sitting in this thing and I'm feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I should be walking. But
because
then I'm
you're a
thinking,
good,
I'm going
honest
to get,
person. That's why you're a good, honest person as opposed to a lot of other people.
but then I'm thinking, I'm going to get all the way to the other end of the park to enjoy something. And then we're going to want to leave. And I'm going to say, okay, I'll get to the car tomorrow. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to have to sit for like the night.
I'm just going to sit here overnight,
Yeah.
let them clean up around me, and I'll walk to the car in the morning. I get
Now,
it.
I also, which I don't abuse, and I think some people do that too. I also have one of the stickers on my car or whatever,
Right.
handicap, where I can park up close.
Sure.
And usually I do that because it's a big space and I know I'll get between the lines
Right.
instead of like parking halfway in somebody else's.
Great. Glad to hear that.
But no, I try not to abuse. And anyway, like we go to Publix or something. Sometimes I like to I like to go back a little bit further so I can, get those steps
Get
in.
some exercise. At least get a few steps. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm never looking to, I shouldn't say that. Because sometimes if I'm in a hurry or if I just need one thing or whatever, but like when I go to Sam's Club or whatever for my regular big load of grocery, I don't care. I'll park out somewhere and walk. It's a nice day and it's whatever. It's good exercise.
Then you go into Publix too.
It's not like I'm getting monstrous exercise from it's not like going to the gym or whatever, but little stuff adds up. We talk about that on Vicky and I talk about that on the Practical Path podcast all the time. The little things you do add up to the big things. So do some little stuff.
Yeah. And I do a lot of the little stuff and I could probably do more than I do.
That's
so
fine.
some of that is laziness, but
well,
at least,
we all get that.
At least I try.
There you go. Good job. Good job. That's all you got to do. Just a little bit of effort.
I'll even see, and I don't, like the wife and I, at least we like change back and forth.
What do you mean?
Like she'll maybe ride, for a little while,
okay, right.
And I'll walk because I want the exercise. And she'll then she'll go, do you think you can walk? Oh yeah, I'll walk for a while. You ride the thing, that's good.
Sure.
I'm good. But there are these couples that I see that aren't even my age yet. And it's like rental, like they rented it at the park because you can rent them at the park.
Oh.
And here it is, a man and a woman. I'm like, are you both lazy little? I got to behave.
I hadn't even see you said that, and I hadn't even thought of that. But if you're Disney or any park, SeaWorld or whatever, what a great way to make some more money, right? I mean, how much do those things rent for a day?
I think 60, $70 a day.
60 or $70 a day. You could have a fleet of hundreds of those making.
I think they do.
That's, again, never occurred to me. Totally brilliant. Wow. Interesting. So, yeah, there you go.
But like we go to the
again,
and I do, because I think I do need that. I do the handicap parking.
Sure.
At the parks.
Sure.
And even if I'm one of those spots, then you see people get out of their car and they're like, like skipping and everything. It's like, I don't know. I'm not going to get on this because that's one of my soapbox because I kind of do it too, but I try not to do it when I can't. I don't know. It's just, it's a slippery slope.
It is. We have, I'll talk quietly so he doesn't hear me. There's a guy who lives here in my apartment. It's separate buildings, so it's not like he's right above me or next to me. So anyway, but there's a young man who lives here, really nice sports car with his, handicap parking space, and he parks in the handicap. He doesn't need it. I've never seen him limp in the slightest, but he's got the thing and he uses it. And I've kind of changed my mind about that a little bit, at least here where I live, because we have very limited parking. And I'm like, okay, if he puts it in the handicap spot, nobody else is going to use it. And it frees up another parking space for me. So I'm okay with it on that one case. But yes, you're right. A lot of times you'll drive by Publix or the mall or whatever, and you see people parking in the handicap spots. And it's like, you don't need that. You're not.
Yeah.
But again, who am I to judge, right? Who am I?
And like I said, well, of course, now I just look old. But 22 years ago, I didn't look so old.
Right.
But I did have a handicap of a heart transplant. But it was a handicap that you couldn't notice. So there are those people that have handicaps that need those parking spots that maybe get out of their car and walk fine, that they have things going on that you're not aware of. So I do always think of that too.
Thank you. That's a very good way to rephrase that so that you're not like, well, look at him. He's not, maybe he's on his third heart or fourth kidney or something. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's a good way. And again, I'm not, I try not to be judgmental on any of that stuff, and I do a pretty good job. So I'll take it. I'll take it. So anyway, coming down to the last few minutes, BJ Odom, and we should tell people that today we are actually recording this podcast on a Sunday. Normally we record on Monday mornings, but BJ Odom has another doctor's appointment? What are you doing?
No, my car has a doctor's
appointment. Your car has a doctor's appointment.
It's going to get its boo-boo fixed.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's got a little car boo-boo, so that's going to be taken care of tomorrow morning. So as we record this, it is the Sunday of the Daytona 500, but you and I were talking and have been talking on and off before and after the show here that the weather doesn't look super cooperative for racing today. And as I look at the weather radar, which I was looking at on our break a few minutes ago, it doesn't look really good. Doesn't look really good.
I will say this, as we recorded this on a Sunday.
Yes.
Right now, I'll even give you the exact time when we're recording this. It is 1:17.
Right.
The race was to start at 2:30 today, but they're going to start it at 1:30. So we've got about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go. I think what they've done, they moved it up an hour. And I think the powers that be at NASCAR are thinking maybe we can get in half the race.
Right.
And if they get in half a race, then it's official and they don't have to worry about coming back tomorrow. Now, if they
500 miles, if they do half is 250, how long to do 250 miles?
Well, it depends on wrecks and everything else.
True.
But, let's say they only get 230 miles in of the 500. Yeah. That's not halfway.
Right.
So then they would have to all wait and maybe until Monday or Tuesday, whenever the weather would get good enough to race.
When the weather clears.
To continue the race. But if they get half of it in, they can call and say, Well, that was a
Right.
complete race.
But if they only, like you said, if they only get 200 of the 500 today, and they decide, and they put it off till Monday, that they will finish the full 500 then in that
Yes.
case. Okay, cool.
If weather will permit it, yes.
Of course, of course. So yeah, so I'll actually tune in today as well, at least for the start, to see how it goes and all that. And your favorite is?
Well, I like quite a few actually.
Oh, okay.
My favorite would have to be, well, it kind of goes back and forth. You know, why am I'm thinking, I'm having a brain fart here.
Oh, that's okay. That's
But
all right.
the the Napa car
Right.
was son of Bill Elliott. Yeah, I like Chase Elliott, Bill
Chase
Elliott's son. I like
Of course, they
Blake.
named him Chase, right?
Yeah.
His father was a NASCAR driver, so they had to name him Chase.
Let's
Perfect.
call him Chase.
Perfect. Perfect.
Then you got Ryan Blaney. I like him.
Okay.
I like the one that some people say looked like my son, Denny Hamlin.
Okay.
And and I was always a hater, but he hasn't won in the last few years, and I'm starting to really say, and he's being nice now, kind of nice. He used to be like the bad boy, and now he's kind of like he's had a couple babies, and now he's a lot trying to be a little calmer. That's Kyle Busch.
Okay.
I'm actually rooting for Kyle Busch, which in the past I would have like, no, don't let him win. Anybody but him. Now I'm saying, yeah, if he wins, I'm happy with it. I'm good.
Okay. All right.
With
Well, like I said, I'll put it on, and now I'll know some names to root for, and that'll be good. So.
And I root for these guys. So chances of them winning are very slim to nil. You know how
the
my
chances
record
of,
is.
Right. The chances of winning any one, it's not like a football game or a baseball game where you got two teams and it's a 50-50. Well, it's not
you got like a 1 in
43.
Like,
yeah.
Like a 1 in 43 chance to win.
Right. Starting out. And you could, one wreck takes out 5 or 10 cars, and, a good driver may have nothing to do, but he happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I get it. And honestly, I think maybe that's one of the reasons that NASCAR or auto racing or whatever never really caught my attention, is like, it's just a little too random for me. Maybe. But I'll say this, I'll let you comment on that, but I'll say that I kind of used to think that way about hockey. I thought all they're doing is it's like figure skating with sticks. They're just skating around hitting each other. And then I thought, no, okay, I'm learning a little bit. I can see what's going on, that sort of thing. So I watch more hockey now. I
think that's with all sports.
You're right. As you get to know it better, you start to appreciate stuff. Yeah.
Because I was like you with hockey, especially hockey. It's like, what the hell are they? Why are they blowing the whistle? Why are they stopping the action? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? What's offsides? You learn all these things, and then you see the strategy and how it needs to be played. And so you get into it a little more.
Right.
NASCAR is kind of the same way.
I'm sure it is.
There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of maneuvering. It's when you pit, when you get fuel, when you do this, when you do that. All of that goes into winning a race.
Sure.
And so if you understand, it's like, all they do is just go around in circles.
Step on the gas and turn left.
Yeah. It's so much more.
I get it. I do. And the driver is a big part of it, but absolutely not the only part of it.
Oh yeah, because there's a team involved. You got the guy who changes the tire. You got the guy who puts gas in. The guy who puts gas in can mess up putting the nozzle in, not getting as much gas as you need to go so many laps. The tire guy can falter and not get all the lug nuts on. It is a team effort, and people like, well, this driver goes around us. No, it's a team.
Right.
And then it's like the coach, the guy who sits on top of the pit is the crew chief. That's kind of like the team leader. He has to decide when to pit, all that stuff.
And races are won or lost based on those decisions, not just the driving, but all of those other hundreds of decisions that have to be made. Yeah, I get it. I do.
And you can lose a race that you should win by maybe not getting enough gas in,
Right.
or not changing the tire at the right time and having enough tire at the end of the race.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, with Daytona, it's a restrictor plate race where they're shoving and pushing each other.
Right.
And of course, towards the end of the race, that's why it goes crazy, because that's when the high intensity is up and where, you are pushing to win and you are like doing everything you can to win. And when you do everything you can, sometimes that's when you kind of get out of the line and boom and crash. And well, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yes, I do. Yes. And then your car has a boo-boo.
So you can expect if you're watching the Daytona 500 or a restrictor plate race,
Right.
and you're in the final 2 laps, those are the laps that are like, oh my God, are they going to get,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
where
here we go.
everybody's giving all they got.
It's like the last minute of a boxing match or something like that.
Yeah.
it's
And
like,
am I going to take risk? Am I in front of this guy? Am I going to take a risk to cut him off and stay in the lead? Or am I going to, it's like milliseconds of millimeters of like, oh my God.
see, BJ Odom doing his sales job for NASCAR today. We appreciate that. So there you go.
Well, that's a nice car. That's a nice NASCAR,
car.
honey. Look at that NASCAR.
Another NASCAR. Yeah, I know. I went, by the way, just to finish that thought, I went to the Jacksonville new car show. What's today? Sunday. I went Friday. They were open Friday, Saturday, and today. And it was good, not great. I was there 2 years ago, and I went this year, and the difference was night and day. That how I think these car companies are just all in so much pain financially that they don't support this stuff anymore. So what should have been a nice big show with lots of vendors and lots of people and lots of action and all that was a room full of cars. That's all it was. And there was a couple, the representatives, like the local dealers would come and send some people to talk about the cars and all that. And Toyota had a little itty bitty demonstration, a little itty bitty floor show. And I'm like, this is what it's come to. It was disappointing. I just got to say it was disappointing. So I hope they get better. I hope things turn around for that. But never mind that. NASCAR today, I'll be watching. We'll see how it goes.
Well, enjoy.
I will. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate you being with us here. What's that? Oh, what?
I was just going to say, Bill said, I hope you got something to talk about, because I don't know what we got to talk about today.
Right. We started recording. Before we pushed the record button on this podcast, yours truly did tell BJ, I got nothing to talk about today. Football season is over. What are we going to do? And he'll say, we'll think of something. And here we are an hour and 2 minutes later. And yeah, we always do it. We always do that. All right. I hope, folks, that you have always enjoyed the show as you usually do. As always, feel free to give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. And we would really appreciate that. And we'll see you next week. But until then, just up to BJ Odom to say,
Heading to the Daytona 500. See ya.